physical wealth. Hello, hello, hello. Today is Monday. Memorial Day weekend is over now. It's sad. It's sad. I was enjoying it. Time was flying, as you can see, because we're a little late. We're a little late tonight. Dynamics have changed a bit. It's changed a bit. We're on at a new time, and things just keep changing. The school season for students is over. A lot of graduates happy graduation, congratulations, and to all the military family members, moms, military dads, sisters, and spouses, as well as the the children of the family members who are in the military, and I don't know, just anybody. If you love somebody that's in the military and they sacrifice for us in this country, and then thank you for your sacrifice. Because yes, that applies to you too. Okay, this is a live interactive show where I volunteer my time to try to help improve mental health, because mental health is physical wealth, and a lot of times we're seeing people um, having a great deal of struggle with their mental health, and it's very difficult to combat that, especially when people don't know who to go to, what advice to take, what books to read, and who is a legitimate person that's actually trying to help you, and who's really fixing you out for more money or money, period. So I come on here and I try to answer some questions, give reputable sources, and give information that you can trust, because trusted information is vital to people's mental health and well-being. I'm trying to adjust as we go along because I can see the camera is like just a little bit off. Chop my head off, and that's okay. It's just taking away a few of them grays. Not mad at the grays. It's just, it's just gonna take it off. Might as well be the grays. Anyway, uh, this is an interactive show where people come on and they ask questions, they talk, it alleviate a little bit of stress. A lot of times people, we all have our different methods of alleviating stress. So please feel free to come on and just chit chat, chit chat. I know it's Memorial's Day and everybody's probably trying to, be with their family members and enjoy the last few minutes um, of peace and happiness before they head back into the chaos that is the rest of life. Hey, Eddie, thank you for coming. Sorry. Yeah, a lot of times, you just gotta get some sleep. I keep telling you, just go to sleep. We always pushing. Eddie and I are always pushing, pushing, pushing. Saturday, we were pushing to be on the Real Talk with Falonda and Jesse. Um, and it was a great show. I enjoyed myself. I was exhausted, but I really enjoyed myself. Eddie enjoyed himself for as much as he could be on. But, they were kind enough to also talk about my book. I posted it on social media, and I'm going to post it somewhere else and all the other places as well. This book is not what you may think at first. You have to buy it in order to understand that it's more than meets the eye. This is a book called Generational Wealth, Information Asymmetry, and Your Success. My books use my PhD globally trending academic writings. My academic writings have influenced academic researchers, executive administrators, stockholders, shareholders, and investors. Their understanding of how to generate wealth and improve mental health in schools and in business. In my books, I include over 20 years of successful military homeschooling learning techniques. The techniques were also successful in brick and mortar and online schools. The grade levels were from early kindergarten um, through postgraduate level schooling. Countless researchers I mean, countless learners were diagnosed with learning disabilities. So you will be able to read this book. Um, and some of the learners were actually average learners. Um, Now anyone who can read may understand the content and context of our books. My hope is everyone who buys a book for themselves and others will improve critical thinking skills, leading to an increase of wealth and improved mental health. Elite education is not just for the elite. It's for everyone who knows what books to read. Now you can go to lulu.com, type in the book search TINA space PHILLIPS. That's my first and last name, and you find this book. Please keep it close. Please keep it close. If I've ever come across your path and I've worked with you, take you on as a client, and some of the information that I've given you or something that I've said has stuck with you throughout your life, then you are definitely going to like this book. And definitely tell other people because I'm just one person and I can only reach so many people. I can only be in so many places at once. So, my book and all of my academic writings, I always tell people, I encourage them, Google and find my writings. But now you don't have to. You can just find my books. I didn't have time before. People were saying, "Oh, you should go do a blog. You should do this and that." And I don't know if people understood. I just didn't have the time because I still need downtime to, you know, unwind and de-stress and so I can hit it again. I'm human. I have flaws, and one of those flaws is I need time to rejuvenate myself, okay? My mic sounds weird. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I guess maybe I didn't check the mic like I should have checked it before, but it seems like it's going. I don't know why it may sound weird. Maybe maybe you tired. I'm putting off you tired. But normally I sit a little closer to the mic, but it's kind of annoying because I talk with my hands and I keep bumping into it. But anyway, I wanted to talk a bit more about military life because a lot of times when we say Memorial's Day weekend, we really only focus on the active duty member. It's cutting in and out. I don't know why. I think you're going to have to help me out. Let's see. Is it me? I don't know. You gotta help me out. See, that's what happens when your tech people are not with you when you are doing stuff because you're trying to get them a break. But anyway, I wanted to talk about military life because um we are not really thinking about how it's affecting you know all the military people, not just the military. Um Something is going wrong. Um I can hear I can Teddy, something's not right. It's actually playing a video. Okay, so I think I did this was not done right. See? Okay, so, now I see what happened, why it was cutting in and out because it was something else playing in the background, and no, that's on. It was something else playing in the background, and that was cutting in and out on the mic. I was like, "Let me put these headphones on, see what's going on." Thank you for telling me these headphones and the lights make it way too difficult for me to whew, it be hot up in here, okay? The sound is better and clear. Okay. That was they tired. Teddy is tired, Eddie is tired, I'm tired. We were using this weekend to try to catch up on some things now that school is out. Um, Thank you for telling me about the sound. I was ready to just cut it. Just go back. Like cut it. Okay, but anyway, um, so now that I got it in there, I don't know what you could and could not hear. So I guess I'll just, try to, keep on going. I'll just keep pressing. And if you're watching this recording, just know I'm just starting. I am not a pro. I am just regular people like everybody else. Um, Trying to do like people are requesting. Get out there so more people can see me, more people can be aware, and more people will know where to go to find the information, such as the information that you can and will find in this book. This is not the only source. And there in the book, I tell you various sources and other things and reference some things that you can hold on to and keep journeying with. So keep the book close to you. It's going to help you and keep hitting different as time goes on. In my experience with the military, it was oftentimes where we needed to like encourage ourselves, encourage one another, and even especially in the absence of our loved ones. You know, Eddie and I, we grew up together in church in Chicago on the South Side. He was a West Sider, I was a South Sider, but the church itself was on the South Side. So I win, I win, I win. But anyway, uh, so we left home, and that was a great sacrifice, um, because we both left family and friends in order to sacrifice for this country and be military. And it was a lot more to it than what we, I think, were prepared for. And it was really difficult a lot of times to keep on everywhere we deployed to make that place home, so that when Eddie would return, it wasn't dreary. It wasn't depressing. It wasn't sad, but it felt just like home no matter where we went. And people would always want to come over to our house because it felt like home. And it's so much love there because I don't discriminate. I love everybody. What they say here, man, it loves all women. I'm just saying, I'm just playing. But it was always a warm and loving environment. And one of the main reasons is because the way I decide to lead my life, and that's the way that I decided long before Eddie and I were even dating. Before Eddie and I were courting, I was like 15 when we started courting. But we grew up in church from diapers. So there's that. So I've known him for a very long time. But it doesn't make the struggle of military sacrifice any easier. It doesn't make it any easier because both parties have to acknowledge that both of the adults are making a great deal of sacrifice. And then, oftentimes spouses aren't getting the recognition for their sacrifice because they often are labeled as predators. But and I can see that there's some people, no matter who it is, they're preying on you. But Eddie and I grew up together, so I would leave him if he said I was a problem to him. I would leave. I don't have a problem with leaving. So I don't like the predatory spirit. I don't care who it is. If somebody's telling you that you're hurting them and you don't know how you hurting them, you walk away and show them you're not trying to hurt them. Leave them be. They'll figure it out. But that's just the way that I am because that's the way I live my life, and it has absolutely nothing to do with how other people tell me to do or want me to do. This is just what I do. A lot of times my understanding was derived from things that I was reading and studying on my own in my spiritual journey. um so I practice my faith in God the way Jesus did. I do not allow the set wayward ways of others who so-called, practicing believers, how they dictate whether I will or I won't conduct myself in a manner which is pleasing to God. Then I let it be known it is, it's not me. It's the way that I feel I'm being led to do. It's not about somebody telling me, oh yeah, do it like this or do it like that. I've never been able to follow what the crowd's saying, because oftentimes I'm asking, well, what does that mean? What are you saying? And I learned the reason why I was asking, and it was so unclear, is because people were intentionally being vague. And that I pick up on that vague um way of being, because people, they want to make it seem like it's your idea and you using your free will to go in the manipulated way they are contriving you to go. But I'm a little too slow for it, so I'm like, what are you saying? What do you mean by that? So, and people would say, oh, stop being so smart. And I'm like, being so smart by asking you the dumbest question I could possibly think to ask you. Like, what do you mean? What are you saying? When, yeah. Anyway, some people, I wrote this down May 10th. I just didn't get a chance to do it. A lot of times when I'm on this camera, it makes me nervous. So I have to write things down so that I don't forget. But I do try to ad lib as well. But anyway, back to the topic. Some people they play semantics and they misuse words like right and wrong. But I noticed that the Bible, it declares all things work together for the good of them who love God. So right and wrong are at times moot perspectives, which do not hinder blessings, callings, gifts of God, or any other uh, good glory God will get from your story or your testimony. And I was tracking that by reading the Bible, and not just reading the Bible, but reading and studying how other faiths came to be. And it was like, wow, I can see God in that. I can, mainly because the Tower of Babel, and how some people and don't understand English, and how communication and the methods of communication evolved from people grunting or making sounds and pointing to things, and hieroglyphics, and pictures being used in place of words, and then letters being then transformed into unique shapes in order to be put together to form words. I was watching all of these things and I was like, man, that's very unique. And I can see how, you know, complex that is. This very layered with complex semantics and different types of understanding, and the intricate details of it can be mind-boggling, especially if you had to learn more than one language. So I see God and I study it in different ways, not just in the way that people tell me. And that's why oftentimes when people look at me, they'll say, well, I thought you thought I was what? I don't know. You got to explain. Hi, Mike. I appreciate you for coming. I Eddie and I were talking about your last show. We were deliriously tired, but we caught the rewind, and it was interesting. Terrence Howard topic, and we really wish we'd have been able to make that topic. That was interesting. Talk about people leading you to a particular belief and way. But anyway, back to what I was saying. For a long time, the notice how I don't have smooth transitions. Yeah, I'm new. This is just what I do. I can't do it. But anyway, for a long time, the phrase "What would Jesus do?" was trending. What did Jesus do? Um, but give men a perfect example, and gave women a man to be a helpmeet too. That was my interpretation of it. I don't know. I do know what a lot of other people have interpreted things to be, but this is my interpretation, and this is why I do the things that I do. when I was doing the show with Philanda and Jesse Saturday, it came to mind that I really needed to say what I wrote down on the 10th. So I'm doing this show so people can be more aware. Sometimes I think that because I understand something or I do something a particular way, that everybody understands. But then when they look at me and they say, yeah, no, I don't understand. Then I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and say. But I think I'm so simple that there's no possible way I can be that complicated. But Eddie says otherwise. So I'm gonna have to go with what he said. He told them that on their show. He was like, yeah, God gave me a handful. I'm like, wow, really? Go back and watch the Real Talk with Jesse and Philanda and check that out if you haven't seen it. It is hilarious. But anyway, Jesus gave man an example of how to be a man, and he also provided women with the idea of what God intended her role to be when he called her woman and said she'll be a help meet. That's probably not the chronological order, but those two are synonymous. Anyway, he also gave us religious practice, a set pattern to follow without giving it a set name. He also gave clarity of how everyone is to behave despite the sins against the Father, who is using believers to draw sinners by way of love and kindness. Now, that's why I didn't understand when a lot of people were shunning people out of church and out of, the religious sanctuaries, because God did a lot of things that made it well understood that he loves everybody. And he said it so many times that he wishes no soul should be lost. So when people are doing things that seems contrary to what I understand about that main goal, God wishes no soul should be lost. Anything that's contrary to that, I do not understand. And now you know why I don't understand. So if you find yourself explaining things to me a little bit more, yeah, that's why. But anyway, another thing was the name of the faith. Jesus did not give so much of a name as much as he gave a pattern, a methodology. Everything that you do should go to glorify and honor God, the I am, because he is. And that's why when it was asked, what is your name? We know there's a God, but what is your name? And he said, I am. And the only thing that fits in I am that we can understand and not lean to our own understanding is God is. So that means it's a little bit easier for us to understand the significance of the little bitty tiny word that resonates with everyone because it's so fundamental. It resonates with your formal logic because it's a very small word, is. So you know it is. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that. So God said, I am. So he is your Alpha, Omega, and he does not run on time in a linear perspective. He runs on time and jumps around the timeline, back and forward, in and out through it. He just is. What'd you say, Mike? Interesting is an understatement. I know. That your show was really good. I just wanted you to know. We enjoyed it. But y'all watched the Man Up show with Mike and Phil. They were talking about Terrence Howard. It was really controversial, but it was really done in a really great way where it was entertaining, informative, and you could really relate to it, because sometimes we're watching these things that Terrence Howard does and we're all like, what? But anyway, back to the topic. He did it with, some love and kindness with the show. And that's one of the things that I like about Mike and Phil. Mike and Phil, they'll get a little off track sometime because it's jokes or whatever, but with love and kindness, they'll bring it back. So that's pretty good. And that's along the alignment that we're supposed to see things in this life and behave accordingly. But when we place strict orthodoxy on things, and it's like we keep changing the rule, and then we change the rubric, because it's like, well, you have to take this step and that step, and people just aren't following it, and it's come to mess up people's mental health, because we're just changing too much. And that's why we have so many different denominations in faith. We have different titles of faith groups, and the paths that everybody takes. I noticed that because I was not just reading my Bible. I grew up reading my Bible, so that word is hidden in my heart. But I've when in my college career, I also studied various Eastern faiths, and saw how that came to be. No problem, love. I got you, bro. It's all love. Okay, so the true question here is not what would Jesus do? It's what did Jesus do? And lots of times we're often even trying to denounce that Jesus even ever came. So we cannot understand the significance of that. And in that, we're altering things. And that's why Jesus came in the first place, because we were altering some things, and God was like, mm-mm. Just like when he looked at Adam and was like, Adam is going to need some help. Oh my. I'm sure. Have you ever looked at your kids and was like, oh my goodness, my child's gonna need a little bit more of my help before I'm able to trust they are going to be all right in the world. So it's like, what did Jesus do? Um, so that's why Jesus was compelled to become man, to be the example. Well, God made this good thing, meaning woman, for man, and therefore, as um as always, God is showing man how to behave accordingly, how to appreciate the blessings of God, and we call women and help me. The reason why I felt compelled to make that comparison and that understanding is because a lot of times we're seeing in this era there's an attack against the genders, and men aren't understanding um the how to protect their women. Jesse and Falonda happened to have did a show on that Saturday. Jesse was really animate about the fact that men in the communities are not protecting the women the way he feels they should. And I have to agree with that. The women are the help meet. They are not the head, they are the help meet. And oftentimes they are compelled to take leadership roles because they have to help in that capacity, but they don't have the support and the protection of the men the way they should. I'm just going to put that out there. But God gave man power and dominion over everything on the earth. He saw it was not good for man to be without something which fully complements his own image, rewards him, helps him, motivates him, or to be succinct, fully companions him. So he made woman, giving her the task of being the helpmeet to all the power and dominion of man. And that's where we kind of got off track, because we forgot what the point was. The point was for man to have power and dominion over the things over the earth, not one another. Because if that was the case, then there would have been more people other than Adam and Eve. And God would have told Adam, you're not the king right. You're not playing king properly. That's not what he did. But we seem to take czars and monarchies and hierarchies and power and create this false system that's failing us. Then we turn around and wonder what's wrong with mental health. Why is there a global cry for stronger facilities to help us build or rebuild a stronger global mental health? Well, some examples that I gave that can help you if you're not understanding or making the connection. Um, Remember when the woman, um, they were saying in the Bible how women sway men silently. They don't combat them and fight them and scream and holler like some people kind of do. That's humanistic. You know, we're gonna get angry, we're gonna get mad, we might even get loud, but that's not the way that we sway men. But sometimes you got to get a little loud to get their attention, but it's written that way for a reason. Women sway men with their silence and their body language. And if you get my book, you'll understand a lot better what's that's appealing to. But moving on, there was the example of Jonah, who was scared to tell the word because man would kill him if he was to say, deliver the word that God told him. But God was scarier, so he ran and told the word, and he got the heck out of there. So in that, I saw a theme, a running theme. You know, men, when the messenger tells a message, they think they're supposed to linger. They think they're supposed to belabor their presence. God ain't chatty Cathy. That's what I got from it. And if he not chatty Cathy, he not giving you a word to be chatty Cathy. He tells you exactly and succinctly what to say, what to do, and you supposed to just keep it moving. And in the word, I can see the word moving. It says the word was God and God was the word. And I can see the word just kept moving. And it wasn't just in the Bible that I saw this. It was in the the life experience that Siddhartha acknowledged, how he went out into the wilderness to find what his faith would be. It wasn't, and Siddhartha, why did I use Siddhartha? Because he was the Buddha, and they named a whole religion after him, and they changed the methodology and the orthodoxy of Buddhism to be around this Buddha. So it's like we see these things and we're not really making the connections because we're focusing on the vessels, we're focusing on the people. But when Jesus came, he was like, don't even look at me. I'm trying to show you how to get to God. And that's oftentimes what we are lacking. We're looking at people. That's not the right idea. So don't look at me. Don't look at me as being your example. I might lead you astray because you might misinterpret something I do or say. Don't do that. Don't do that to me, and don't do it to yourself. But look at these examples we're given. And it's the reason why the book was written, was so that you'd have examples that you can't look at in a physical manifestation. So you cannot mimic that person, but you can get the takeaway, and it'll be applicable to your life, and you'll apply it to your life because it's your voice reading it, you studying it, you hearing your voice telling you what this takeaway is, instead of somebody dictating the word to you and telling you, this is my lived experience, this is how I did it, and then you succeeding that person in their endeavors instead of succeeding the endeavors God had for you as an individual, and understanding you are unique and special, and God poured a piece of himself in you. That uniqueness is what he wants to see, not a replication of the uniqueness he put in someone else. You cannot be replaced. You are invaluable. Stop ending things in a way that that's darker than what it could be. Understand you are unique. Understand why you feel the way you do. And if you can't understand it by yourself, get this book. Let it help you. Go to lulu.com, type in the word search, TINA space PHILLIPS, and get that book. Keep it close. Read it. Binge watch a couple of my shows. Try to find what I'm saying and pray God give it to you, because I'm only human. I can only put so much in the little book, but that little book is very sturdy and it's going to help you in so many different ways. Not the intricate details, because the book is small. I couldn't put everything in that book, but there'll be a series. So start with this one. Go research my name and search for my academic writings. Read that. It's free if you go and search and read my academic writings, and we could talk about it, and go and look at my other shows where I show you some of those academic writings. So, it's more places than one that you can, look at it and find it. Hey, Tony, thank you for coming, man. Real talk. And the Tony Briscoe show, because Tony has a show as well. He has been looking so happy. I'm so happy for my brother. Um, Keep it up. Keep up the good word, you and Gary. I really enjoy that's two Christian men talking about some real Christian experiences. Check out Tony Briscoe and follow him, and Mike Wiley on social media. That's some good guys. Anyway, we back to the topic. We have examples where we saw Noah, who told the people, then expected their final answer. He accepted their final answer as no, they're not gonna listen. And Noah was like, all right, I still gotta do what I gotta do. So when he goes and closes the doors to the ark, they stayed close without Noah's, regret. It's like, you on the other side of that door, but I don't have any regret because you said no and I got to follow through. And that's one thing a lot of people are not understanding. And that's why a lot of the times we seeing viral videos of the churches going viral, because people aren't understanding. I can't change the answer. I didn't write the rules. I can't change the answer. I don't have the rubric to change the answers and tell you what the steps are. Every man has to work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. And your mistakes are okay. It's in the Bible. You be surprised. Sex too. Sex scandal, lasciviousness is in there. You will find some stuff. It's in there. So don't think that you don't have any hope. Don't think that you're hapless. That you in there. You in there. Find yourself. Read it for yourself and stop having people to dictate it to you and taking their understanding, because they may not understand it the way it's going to hit you, because you live in a different experience than they are. There you go. So there was another example with Abraham. Abraham accepted his blessings would span the generations of all his descendants for all he had done. You know how hard it is to work so hard, be so dedicated, fully loyal and dedicated, have that dedication misunderstood, misinterpreted. And for the moment that you in, all you can see is a small portion of your reward. You know it, because you go to work and they don't pay you what you worth. And you putting it in, okay? You all in. They'll never be able to afford to pay you what you worth, even if they was to give you the dollar amount you ask. But you giving all the time. And that's how Abraham did. He gave and he gave, and he had to just trust, because his understanding wasn't God's understanding. But what he did was he trusted that God said, well, don't worry about it. This is going to be for all your generations, all your blood, all your kinship. They're going to be blessed for everything you did. It's hard to have that kind of faith. I'm just saying. And he was just flesh. But anyway, so I'm good with practicing my reciprocal love for God as best as I can, as a help meet to the perfect man. Though he's gone on to make room for all of followers in heaven, he's still the example that I am help meet to, and Eddie is the beneficiary of, because Jesus isn't here anymore, but that's why the whole example was made. So we all have that example. We have no excuse. So you do you, I'm gonna do me, but don't judge me, because I'm not judging you. What'd you say, Tony? I was in the other feed. I was lonely as came up here. Oh, are you on at this hour? I don't think. I don't think you own it this hour. Oh, you mean the other stream and you're gonna see. I don't know. Um, so when people try to put me in a box and tell me how I'm supposed to behave as whatever they think I'm supposed to behave, they don't understand why I can't understand them. So this is why I'm writing this. Well, this is why I wrote it, and this is why I'm trying to communicate it and convey it, because I did say it in other videos in a roundabout way. Now I'm being a little bit more direct. But instead of practicing religion, which was confused so many, which has confused so many people, that almost every critical thinking follower of of God has divided to create their own religion. That's how confusing religion is, and how confusing man's methodology of practicing faith in God has been. That's what I mean by religion. So then people saw the obscurity in having so many religions. They turned to philosophy, which was then used to amend set orthodoxy of established religion. Go track it, because that's what I track. People were creating different religions. Like Siddhartha, he had a different religion. Jesus, they were all in the same area, and they had different methods of serving God. And then really smart people who could critically think, and some people who just, they weren't even smart, they were just critically thinking, and they was praying, and it came to them differently than what man had said it. Man had orthodox methods. And my favorite idea of that change was when Jesus went to the church when he got old enough, and he went up in there and he flipped the tables over, like, no, we're not doing this. This is not what that's about. That right there, go track it. But anyway, consequently, some lose their mind trying to track it, but God knows their heart. And I think it was Richard Smallwood, or I don't know. I'm terrible with names unless I write it down. But it was the guy who created the Azusa for churches, and that was like a convocational, ongoing convocation, holy convocational, and he started to see some things differently. And people thought that maybe he had lost his way. A lot of people, go and track it, a lot of people, when they're able to critically think and they're studying and people are in their ear telling them certain things, they're like, that doesn't sound right. That goes against my formal logic, is what they're saying. That goes against what I feel and believe inside, and I don't know how to deal with it. What do I do? Hey, Phil, appreciate you for being here. What you say, Mike? Carter Pierce. There we go. Carter Pierce. I get things wrong. Thanks, bro. um, um, we don't understand what happened there. Why is it that all those years, and you could feel the anointing, you could feel God's presence, and you're like, what happened there? What went wrong? I'm telling you, if you get my book, you might see some things differently. You might understand some things differently. You might rewatch this video and understand what I mean by Jesus set the example, but he did not give it a name. And they asked him, we're going to name this religion after you. Jesus was like, man, y'all just not getting it. You're not understanding. I'm telling you, look at the Father, look at the I am. It's not mine to scream at you. I'm just saying. And you just gotta look at it for yourself without thinking about what other people are telling you. And once you do that, then you're going to understand. You're going to hear your formal logic better. You're going to hear that voice down on the inside of you clearer. It's going to be louder, because now you're not so distracted. A lot of times people don't understand. I shut myself in. I have to close myself off. I can't be everywhere all the time. I have to move according to the way I'm being led to go. So a lot of times the methodology that I use to be the helpmate that I feel I'm being led to be, and the helpmate that I am, is I'm the helpmeet to the perfect man called Jesus. Such a mantle is it is what it is, and the rewards are more than worth everything. There are some men out here who are who have picked up that mantle, and they are in the churches, they are in Catholic faith, they are in some other countries speaking in other tongues, and sometimes they're even in other faiths but under a different name. And then God touches their heart and tells them exactly. And then they start to see things and turn things. God don't need your help like that. God just needs you to be willing. That's all. You don't have to be special in any other way. I know, because I'm not. I'm not special in any other way, but I'm willing. That's it. That's all. But anyway, I may not be right all the time, but God, knowing my heart, he turns everything for my good. I might not phrase things right all the time, but God words my mouth or touches the heart of man to understand, which in and of itself is far more telling than you know. It's been many a times that people have misinterpreted something that I said because they didn't discern my heart. They didn't discern the love I was coming in. They didn't discern. She just goofy sometimes. Sometimes she just telling jokes and she don't know I can get the joke. Sometimes, and like Eddie, when he was on Philanda and Jesse show, he said God gave him a handful, because sometimes Eddie got to understand that imperfection, just like I got to understand his. I'm more accepting of his because I'm a help me, and I understand what Jesus did. He came because man jacked up. And that means that any man that we deal with on earth is not going to necessarily be as palatable as we would like. So we have a whole lot we have to overlook as women in order to be a better helpmeet, to help him in our silence be better. Be better. Sometimes I'm too tired to argue with folks. Get it or don't get it. Hey, I get it. But sometimes people, they need you to tarry with them just a little bit. And if God's leading you to, elaborate a bit more on it, then take the moment. And Eddie does. He takes the moment and he'll elaborate on it far longer than he ever wanted to. But anyway, we all do that at work, at school, when we playing with somebody, especially if they take it out of context, because they get their feelings hurt. We all do it. But I'm just saying, I'm not perfect. Thankfully, I'm not required to be. No one's required to be, but I'm willing. And if you're willing, the same thing will happen for you. And that's all God needs to work with anyone, is for you to be willing. Did you ever think, why did the Bible keep emphasizing that a man believeth, so is he? In different ways, not just phrased that way. And why is it stated over different tongues in different countries and different faiths? Like karma, like yin yang, like all these other ways that it's made. I'm telling you, get this book. Go to lulu.com, Generational Wealth, Information Asymmetry, and Your Success. Type in the book search, TINA space PHILLIPS. Get that book. I'm going to show you some stuff. It's going to hit different. But I'm just saying, because I've experienced it, and this is what I put into that book. But anyway, and I show you examples, so it'll be very clear. This is not just what I'm saying. This is founded information. That means it has sources that are credible. But anyway, so when things get messy, as they often tend to, because there's nothing new under the sun. That's what the Bible said. That's what different faiths have said. There's nothing new. There's a pattern. There's a cycle. That means the answer is here. And God has designed it that way. So you can't say, oh, they switched it up on me. Nope. The answer was there. So I know I have an anchor because there's nothing new. And that anchor I need. I know just what to do because I study to show myself approved. I study to learn many paths and many methods of showing God love. And that's what we're tasked to do. Showing God love is the only goal I have noticed is common among all the different titles of men in religion. So I asked myself, how can God get the glory out of my story every day as I go through my day, especially when things get messy? And let me tell you, we're in an era right now where it's always messy. I don't care if you gaming, I don't care if you walking your dog or you got your cat and you calling your cat. I don't care what it is. It's messy out here because mental health is all jacked up. It's messed up. But it seems like Jesus had such a running theme during his time on earth. Show man God's love for them to reciprocate it. What if we had that same singular focus despite diversity and especially amid chaos? What if we all had that singular focus, reciprocate God's love? Then you'll start to understand it's about your relationship with God and how you are doing it. A lot of times people say, well, I believe in God. As Americans will say, we believe in God, but our actions, especially amid chaos, doesn't show that we even have a lick of like for God. But I'm just saying, but God knows your heart. So some people have it deep in their heart and some people don't. And that's the difference. That's why you might get away with something that somebody else didn't. I'm just saying. What if we all had the singular focus on asking ourselves, how can I show God love in this moment, especially amid this extreme chaotic moment? Despite everything, I'd rather respond instead. Jesus did. When he flipped that table over, we saw the flesh in God, and we saw God in flesh through Jesus, and we saw him act in a fleshly manner. Like you flipping tables. And then when Jesus died, we saw God shake the earth. He quaked the earth till it cracked. So we know there's a temper there. We know there's a reactive physical response. And sometimes we tend to try to look at it differently or in a way, but God knows. So what you think would happen if we were to have that singular focus the way Jesus did? Stop listening to people tell you, well, this is the way you should do it. This is what, because they told Jesus the same thing. They told, how you gonna tell Jesus what he supposed to do in religion? How you gonna tell? That's Jesus. How you go? But they did it. Jesus was God's son. How you gonna tell Jesus how to act? I'm just saying. No one's perfect. We just strive to, yeah. And a lot of times people forget that we all striving. We all striving to do our best. And we judge people. And I'm often judged. I just take it on the chin and keep on moving because it's not going to change me. I can't change. I've come too far. Don't you see these gray hairs? I don't hide it. I came too far. I can't change it. This is my understanding. And I have a different understanding than a lot of people have because I heavily depend on God's love and favor. Because favor of man has failed me too much. I can't do without God's help. So I never want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't ever want to disrespect anybody. And anytime somebody feel like they might, be taking me the wrong way, I'll stop you. I'll stop you. Like, hold on. Let's make sure you understand. That's not where I'm going with it. So if we were all to do that, what would happen? Jesus did it. Every time somebody got it wrong, they was like, Jesus, this how you supposed to act. You supposed to be God in flesh. This how you really supposed to be acting. Look at how you out here doing. You out here doing this. You doing this. It's the Sabbath day. We supposed to be representing God and showing God love. It's the day he rested. And Jesus like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. What better day is it than today while God is resting to show him thanks, appreciation, and show him that we are following in the way? Jesus, I don't know, but I wonder if we were to follow that example instead of trying to make it seem like we're following some different example, we're following other men who have hierarchy and titles in these faiths and man orthodoxy of religion. If we were to focus on the example that Jesus set for us, do you think mental health would improve? Do you think the consequences of actions would be more desirable? Do you think that misinterpretations of others would innately be stifled? Do you think that maybe long suffering wouldn't be as long? Desirable domino effects would be inevitable. It would be unavoidable if we were to do this. And we're seeing a time when we call these natural disasters God's finger because it's the tornado, whether it's fire or wind or rain. We're seeing that these things are only controlled by God. And if we're doing things that he favors, maybe we won't turn into Sodom and Gomorrah and be removed. And it's not exclusive to America, North or South. And it's not exclusive to any place overseas. It is period, point blank. These domino effects would make the desired changes that we need in our ozone layer. It's not just us not using green energy. I'm just saying, but permitting inevitable changes to be less frightening, because in place of change would be improvements. Consider the financial gains of this sort of mentality if we were to put this into practice. Because if the wayward ways caused a global economy to begin to fall, what will the opposite lead to? It begins with one, and that one could be you right now. Would God love what you're doing? Is God pleased with you? Jesus did not concern himself with what holy people, quote unquote, thought. Jesus said, this life is what we do to please the Father, who's pleasing man. That was the running theme of Jesus' whole life. And that's why a lot of times people don't want you to reflect back on what Jesus did. And they're asking you, what would Jesus do? Then they're telling you exactly the part that would manipulate you of what Jesus' behavior was. So in that moment, you can reflect that, as opposed to taking it in its totality and understanding it in a formal logic as it applies to your unique individual life as the God that was put into you. He breathed his breath in all of us in order for all of us to have life. And then he put us in the bellies of our mothers in order for them to carry that seed into a physical manifestation that can survive outside of her womb. That's why people can't duplicate birth, and they try. I know, I read the studies. They can't, because you still need God to breathe the breath into every living being. And that breath he calls a soul. See, a lot of times researchers, scientists, philosophers, everybody's always grasping at these straws and they're trying to separate it. But there's a number of philosophers who in their enlightenment of transcendence and faith and spirituality, they caught on to something. That's when they started to fall out of popularity of man, and man started to denounce their ability, their voice and ability to be heard, and started doing other things and saying other things and distracting you with like other players. Read it, catch up. I track it. I'll show you. I'll show you where to start. I'll show you where you can get a good understanding and start tracking it. Go to lulu.com type in the book search, TinaPhillips, and get that book from Lulu. Get it, because people who have gotten any of my writings, my globally trending writings, what they've done is they've taken it and they've fleeced it out and stretched it out, and they put it in different writings and put their name on it. But it's not going to hit like this book, where I give you a whole lot for a little bit. And I give you this interactive show so you can come on and talk about it. If you read the book, come on, let's talk about it. Ask me questions, you know, let's flesh it out. Let's flesh it out. I'm pretty sure you're not going to have any questions when you read that book. Is that easy? It's that easy. But that's been my show for today. Happy Memorial's Day to everyone. And thank you for your sacrifice. Remember, mental health is physical wealth. Teddy, take me out of here. Mental health is physical wealth.